go along with the course. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, I'm going to go over here. Let's just merge this into one fraction, I think. I mean, that couldn't hurt. I mean, that's why we got a common denominator. So we get what? N plus 1 fact minus, what do we have? N minus, or N fact N minus 1, all divided by N minus 1 fact. Okay. So we need to keep the eyes on the prize, right? Because we're trying to get to 2 permutations of N comma 1. All right, so at least we've got a punching chance though, because we have a singular fraction. Okay, and at least we can do that. So, any suggestions as to perhaps maybe how to simplify any of this stuff?
Can do
John,
N factorial.
instead of maybe rewrite N plus 1 factorial, so John, how would you rewrite N plus 1 factorial, sir?
N plus 1 times N minus 1.
Or, sir, do you mind if I just write it like that?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay, so N plus 1 factorial, all I'm doing here is I'm splitting off the highest factor of that, okay? And I'll explain why I do that in a second. But does that make sense, guys, that everybody understands that these two things are exactly the same thing? I'm just splitting off the highest factor of N plus 1. It'd be like if I had, and you guys don't have to write this down, if I had 16 factorial, wouldn't that be 16 times 15 factorial? If I had 255 factorial, that would be 255 times 254 factorial. All I'm doing is I'm splitting off the highest factor. That's all I'm doing with this. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody, guys? Completely legal. I'm not trying to pull any hocus pocus. Minus N fact, N minus 1 fact, or N minus 1, sorry, divided by N minus 1 fact. Okay. Now, John, why in the world would you just want to split off one of those? Why didn't you split off like N plus 1, N minus 1, N minus 2? Why just N factorial?
You want to take the N common.
Yeah. Guys, isn't there a common factor of N factorial right here? Let's factor that N factorial out, and I bet you that's going to get us really close to what we need. Okay, so basically what we did was we just reduced the order of the factors, so that way what we could do is just factor out something that's common. Okay, so if I factor out an N factorial, inside the brackets, I'm now left with N plus 1 quantity minus quantity N minus 1. So we just factored out a GCF of N. I want you to notice that I kept the parentheses there. Okay, I didn't mess around with those because I know we need them. Okay, because it's a binomial factor. All right. What's the next thing that we could do that's almost obvious?
N, then N minus 1 factorial.
Guys, just combine like terms, okay? Distribute the negative, right? And then combine. Guys, if I combine everything in here, what does that work out to be
N
inside the
square
brackets?
minus 1.
2. Just 2, right guys? So these n's go away because they're
Oh, okay,
opposites.
combine, okay.
And then minus 1 is just going to become a plus 1, right guys? So that just becomes 2. So we would get 2n factorial divided by n minus 1 factorial. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? Just some really basic Algebra 1 combined like term stuff. Okay. What do we do next?
N, you split it N into N plus minus
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, but it's just 2 P and...
Yeah, it's done. I mean, isn't that the definition of 2 permutations of n comma 1? Okay, that's exactly what we needed. Guys, if you look at it, you have your 2. You could factor it off if you wanted to, but n is n, r is 1. So you guys are done with it. That's the very definition of 2 permutations of n comma n minus 1. Okay? So, like I said, guys, this one was obviously much more difficult than the first one because of the common denominator. All right, any questions I can answer for you guys? Go ahead, John.
Yeah, how is that permutation and number 1 like that?
How did I do
We're
it?
trying to, well actually I know how you got, but I'm just wondering why that's the
So to go, are you asking like, why did we go from this step to this step?
I'm just, because you're trying to prove that it's equal to two.
Right, so, John, if I had this, if I have two p n comma one, right? This guy right here, if I was to use the definition of permutation, that would be n factorial, right? Divided by n minus one factorial, right? Which is exactly what we have over there. So this is just the condensed version, or a different way of writing this exact same thing, okay? So all we're trying to do is we're trying to get to one fraction, and that's why we need the common denominator. And then once we get there, then we can just do our algebra to be able to get to this thing. Okay? Does that make sense as to how to see like what we're trying to get to?
Yeah, I just don't know why that on the bottom is the,
Is the common denominator, or?
I mean, that's the final step, right?
Oh, right here? No, we went over there. There's 4 more steps over there that we were working with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is like step number 3 or 4, and then there's the 4 more steps over there to do the algebra to simplify.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? All right, other questions, guys? Okay, so don't forget, guys, I think next time assignment or not next time, on Monday, right? Assignment number 9 is due, right, guys? Okay? So make sure you guys get a jump on that. You can do everything that's on assignment number 9. If you want to start assignment 10, you can do the first few problems on that as well. What's that? No, assignment 10 is going to be the one due not next Monday, but the
Oh,
following.
that's the last assignment.